This is the D6 generation with your hosts Craig Gallant,
little thing I like to call a joke,
Russ Wakeland. I'd put the little white handkerchief on my head and go, "Oh, my brain hurts!" And Raef, Hollywood Granger.
HD is in the house.
With contributions from our lovely wives.
He cheated, cheater, Russ. You guys have to know the rules before you play him.
And our loyal listeners.
Drago, we made you out of steel.
The following is bonus content from the D6 generation, recorded live at Gencon 2009.
And we're here with Frederick Forrest, who is the president, CEO, designer extraordinaire of Exillis, which is a brand new game, it's really groundbreaking. It's been a lot of the buzz at Gen Con. How are you doing, Frederick?
I'm doing pretty good, actually. The response here at Gen Con has been really positive so far. We're the kind of game that people didn't really see coming because we haven't been advertising a whole lot, but the people that stop at the booth are pretty surprised to see the game mechanic, how it runs, and we've got really good positive feedback so far, so really happy.
Excellent. Now, speaking of that didn't see it coming, what is the big innovative mechanic of your game?
Well, Exillis is a miniature war game that uses software to enhance the whole experience. What's going on here is that the board itself is like your tactical overview of the game. That's pretty much where you make your decision, whereas the software looks at one zone because it's a zone-based system as opposed to a freeform system. And so that's where you input your action and you have the software do all the calculation and shows graphically the guys hitting each other, the damage, the firebolts, and all that jazz.
Oh, great. So you've got computer graphics that are showing you the results of the battle and the guys dying and the blood and the gore and everything, and then you're planning out your next moves almost like a general almost on the board. Yeah,
that's pretty much the idea, that people, when they play, they kind of use both levels of the game, like the zoomed in for the operational, what kind of strike you're going to be doing, and the board as the zoomed out version for the tacticals, because if you just blindly move forward your guys, you might just get in range of a cavalry charge or get in range of a very nasty spell, so you're constantly going between those two, and the game really intricately blends the two medium together for like a new kind of gaming experience.
Excellent.
We should be clear, too, the board's not just some kind of board game board. The board's a hobby game experience, right? So it's got terrain, you got to collect the models, paint them, and do all that.
Oh, yeah, completely. The game is a miniature war game in a pure sense of the way. The figurines it's a fully plastic system. The games are to paint and to assemble. The game, actually, the game board itself is a 20 unique tile plastic set that people can paint as well. We have a few painted here to show what it looks like here at Gen Con. We have a few pictures on the website as well. Of course, you can paint that however you want for like the different terrains and stuff. We will be supporting in time also different types of terrain for the gameplay, like from grass to wooded areas to snow and desert and all that jazz.
Speaking of the board, I mean, it's a beautiful plastic board. The tiles are probably about 8-inch squares.
Yep, 9 actually to be
9. Yeah, see, I was close. Yeah, he might know that. But the quality is beautiful. The quality of the models is also beautiful. And normally you would have heard buzz about this quality. I mean, the models are absolutely stunning plastic models. It easily the equal of the best, I think, of any miniature company out there that's making plastic fantasy models. How did you keep all this secret? And you obviously spent an awful lot of time and effort developing the models as well as the software to be able to just reveal. I mean, there are companies here that are revealing straight up miniature games that don't have models as nice as yours. So what was that process like?
Really, what happened there was simply that we spent all our times working on the game as opposed to creating the buzz. That's how I can summarize it. It was good for us to just really take some time out of the spotlight to work on it and really iterate on the whole thing. Now, don't get me wrong, the game is still early in beta. We're going to be refining the mechanics. We really want to come up with a very polished experience, so we need to do still some work, and we like this out of the spotlight a bit position we're in. But at the same time, we're here at Gen Con to show the people what it's like, because there's been a lot of questions, because the game, let's face it, the computer versus the board stuff, people have a hard time imagining what it's like before trying, but once they come here at the booth, they're like, oh wow, this is really cool. I can actually start playing right away, don't need to read a tick rule book. I might actually get my girlfriend interested in this game. We're at a stage that we feel comfortable showing it now.
So is the So is really the premise that you're offering a really deep tactical game, but because the computer does all the work, you're going to be able to, it's going to be more accessible than maybe other machines.
Easy to learn, art to master. That's pretty much what we've been working on for the whole thing. We want a game that you can play with people that are very not into the miniature war game all that much, because you want to get into the game. You don't want to argue with your friends over a quarter of an inch or over XY obscure rule in like the 5th page of the rule book. And at the same time, because computers calculate stuff really well and really easily, they don't forget any rules, we're also able to build a gameplay system into layers that on the surface is very easy for beginners, but someone who really wants to dig in and start learning how like the melee system works, how the defense works, how the fatigue works and stuff, there's a whole lot of stuff that is there for veterans to sink their teeth in, and so we're able to really get the depth as well for the veterans.
Okay. Now, you're selling boxed sets right now, and the boxed sets come with 2 armies and the entire game board?
Actually, the box set comes with 54 figurines, which can be split up into either 2 armies or 1 big army, because we have a lot of people that just want to have like a one decent, a very balanced army with fast cav, heavy cav, the casters, the monsters, the heroes, all that jazz, so they can take the box set and keep it all for themselves. Or, if you're playing with a friend and you want to just split and get the 2 of you guys going, you can do that as well. And yes, it comes with the board, and we also have a lighter version. I guess we could call it Exillis Light, although that's not really the idea. It's non-official, which comes instead of the plastic board. It comes with a plasticized cardboard poster, and that's just very easy. You put that on the table, and it gives you nice little scenery printed out.
Oh, great.
And what's the deal with because it's a beta box now, right? So how is that going to work for people? If they buy it now, it's going to be beta, but then how is that going to roll into the real release of the game?
What's going on is that we're at a point where the software is up and running. There's still quite a few bugs and there's a few balancing issues we want to hammer out, and we're really on the lookout for players, for veteran players who really want to get involved in the game and want to help us out, bring the game to the next level. So we're doing a month or 2 of beta, and we're selling them the game for a huge rebate, like 70%, just because we know that it's not the final product and whatnot, and we really want their feedback, really want to get them involved in the whole process. And we pretty much ask people to play once a week, update the software on a regular basis, because the software is going to evolve really quickly. And at the end of the stuff, they get to keep their game, of course, and continue playing.
One other question I had for you about the factions. How many factions are coming in the game now, and how many do you see at launch involved with the game?
That's an interesting question. Actually, Exillis uses a soft faction system. We're a historical fantasy game where we're set in 1309, and the state of the world is such a chaotic mess that you can pretty much make armies with whatever you want. But when you bring in a general into the mix, the whole army takes on a theme. So you have a whole lot of themed armies, and each general can be used in very different configuration. So, like for example, in the starter set, you have 2 heroes and have 5 different subtypes themselves. So, right in the starter box, you have 10 factions, if you could say. And we came out with a exclusive hero for a magazine in France that was a French knight, and he had 12 factions by himself. So, right from the get-go, we have like roughly 20 factions. And the cool thing about that is that you swap the general, you swap the way the whole army works together, because the bonuses it gives to the army are different and stuff. So it's very easy with a limited amount of figurines to really renew the gameplay and make sure that you're never playing twice the same game.
Great.
Now, to give our listeners a little bit of an idea, looking at your booth, you've got 2 PlayStations set up. Not the PlayStation, but areas of play that are. You've got the board set up, and then you've got a beautiful plasma flat screen television on the wall next to each. And then you have a third area that's a smaller board set up and an iPhone.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So let's start with here. Do you imagine like the gameplay area of your players is now going to be maybe in the living room where they're going to have their TV and they're going to hook up their computer? How is that like going to change the social dynamic of the game, of gaming?
That's a really cool question. We had a trend on the forums about that. Like players were asking, okay, what do you envision as a setup for players? And we had a whole wide range of answers. Some people are buying little netbooks that they can carry around, and the mobile version of the game will run on that just as well as it runs on the iPod Touch. Some players go as far as having their HD projector hooked up into the whole thing and playing on like huge screens. And we're like, this is awesome. This is really, really cool. I wish I would, do that at my place. So the game can be really portable for people who are on the go. It's easy. Although you do need an internet connection to upload the players onto the machine. Once the connection is made, you can just leave and play, for a weekend on the countryside and play a bunch of games with your friends, or go to the store and play and then come back, upload the games, and gain all your experience and level up. So it really depends on each player's setup at home, really.
Okay. Now that's another interesting thing you touched on, is the concept of leveling up. Because you're using a computer and it's storing all this information, you've built into the game the concept of every one of these models is an individual, and they're earning experience and they're gaining abilities, right?
Oh yeah, that's one of the big stuff we really like here at Bastion, is that as the people play, of course, their old collection is going to start collecting experience, and they're going to be able to level up, get new skills and abilities, and start customizing their army into the skill trees. Now, what it does is that at the beginning, when you're starting to learn the game, it's pretty easy because you have fewer options and whatnot. But when you're starting to play for a long time, your army gameplay renew itself, because you're really starting to gain access to new combos, gaining access to new ways that your units can work together. And because you're customizing your army one way and your friend is customizing his army another way, two very similar army can have a very different feel. So it's very intricate to see, and very interesting to see how players are thinking about strategies and thinking about ways to build around this whole thing.
That's good. Another thing, gamers love statistics, and if I have and it sounds to me like every game counts towards the experience of your guys. And if I have a cav unit I got when the game first started, and they've been with me for a long time, can I go back online and see this cav unit has killed this many enemies and what have they fought in the past and that kind of thing?
Oh yeah. Eventually, the way the actual experience is calculated is that we have a battle report that is generated at the end of the game. Now, the battle report will be able to give you a whole lot of information about how each unit performed and whatnot. And on top of that, these get crunched into the database, so we're able to see on a global scale how certain units do, what's the recurrent tactics. It's really helpful for the player to see how they play, how they can improve their play, and it's really helpful for us to see as developer what people like, what's the emerging strategies, and so we're able to really design around it and tailor stuff and really start to react to the way that players play to make sure we have the best product possible.
Awesome. And when you kill my cav unit, do I lose all my experience?
we were actually thinking about doing that for a while, and then we realized, we were like, okay, miniature war game, roughly 40 to 50 casualties per game. Yeah, not a good idea. But my lead programmer is really into, the very hardcore kind of gaming, and he wants badly to run a server for like the dedicated and the hardcore. We'll see how that pan out, if you manage to convince me or not. But
that's an interesting idea. So you're going to have different servers for different play styles, kind of like MMOs have the world where you can have the role-playing server or the casual server. Are you considering having servers for different kinds of style of gamers who want to have every moment count, and then sort of a casual play server where it doesn't count, or have you thought that through yet, or is this still kind of early?
We're still in the process of figuring all that thing out based on the feedback the player give us. One of the things that's for sure is that the players can decide that this game is a practice, so it doesn't count. It doesn't give XP. Like, in fact, we're giving players a few options. Like, here's like a preset battle that's like a battle level 10, so you can bring figurines between level 15 and 5, and that's like the parameters for balanced gameplay. But if you want to play a game that's completely out there, you can just unlock all those things and make a battle that's completely whacked. It's not going to count for XP, but it can be a really fun game to play with your friends as well. And one of the questions that comes back with that system is that, yes, of course, if you're like a higher level player and you have a friend that wants to join in, you're able to play your figurines as they were back then. So you're able you're always able to downsize your figurines, so it becomes very friendly to play together. And you, as a veteran player, you're still gaining your XP, so it's very advantageous for you. It's not like a burden to go and help the new guy gets up and running.
How is that going to work for army building and game balance? Like, as your cav unit becomes super leveled up with all these abilities, does it cost more points or however your system is to bring it into the game?
Oh yeah, totally. And the range at which the unit get better is exponential. Like a unit at level 60 is like 200 times stronger than he was at level 1. But of course, what we do here is that we have those preset battles that kind of limits the range. So they're like kind of, I wouldn't say scenarios, but kind of like that. And when you're making a muster, you're making it based on one of these scenarios to make sure that it fits in that scenario. So the whole muster process is really easy. It's like a drag and drop stuff on the web. So it's really, you point and click. It tells you how many points left, how many, and it's very visual because it's all graphical and everything. So it's very easy to make an army really quickly and start playing with your friends.
Great.
Frederick, you have anything else that we missed that you'd like to tell our listeners?
Hi. Well, we have a few spots left for the beta. Players that are interested should send an email. We can be reached on our website, Exillis, x-illis.com, and or send us an email at contactus@exillis.com. Just tell us a bit about yourself, and all the conditions for the beta are on the website, and we'll be glad to have really good veterans and really good players join on board and help us take that game to the next level.
Great. Excellent. And what are your hopes for the release date for the final product?
It's not quite sure yet because we really want to make sure that when we release the game is as good as it can be. But right now, in October-ish, mid Q4 looks like a good target.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Frederick, and good luck to you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
This is Matt Wilson, and I am a member of the D6 generation.
All right, so what do you guys think of your first trip to Gen Con?
So far, so good. Pretty much what I expected. A little bit bigger than I was expecting, too. So, especially here in the main hall. It's definitely a little overwhelming at first. I'll have a good time walking around.
What about that phenomenal podcasting seminar you just got?
Oh, that was great. It was especially nice to try to sneak into the back of the room and then have your name called out for everybody.
Nice. Now, what was the attendance in there? As a non-biased individual, what was the attendance?
Oh, the attendance was great. And I thought there were people that were generally interested in learning about podcasting. They had some good. Yes, it was. They had some great questions. So it was. I didn't really have to sit in the back and try to amuse myself. You guys did a good enough job.
Amusing himself in the back row with his wife. We won't go any farther than that.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Oops, sorry.
I thought it was good. I had no idea that it was a podcasting seminar. So.
She was dragged in. I see. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hi, I'm Jade, the high school outcast from Last Night on Earth, and when I'm not slaying zombies, I am a member of the D6 generation.
And now, as a special treat, we've got Curt Covert of Smirk and Dagger Games, who we talked with just a little while ago. And how you doing, Curt?
And I'll try to be less verbose this time.
Oh, that's okay. You're one of our favorites.
Good. We like that.
Verbose is awesome. But you have a little bit of an announcement bearing on something you said in an earlier interview.
That I do. Shootin' Ladders Fragfest is actually out. I didn't really expect it was going to be ready until probably January. But I found, believe it or not, a U.S. printer who was able to do it in a really quick time frame for a price that I thought was great, and it allowed me to do it here in the States, which is terrific. So.
Wow, that's fantastic. How's it going for you?
Insanely well. Yeah, almost like creepy.
Is it a little scary?
Yeah.
People are really enjoying ripping the heads off these guys a little too much?
That's kind of what I'm saying, yeah. I mean, the thing is, Candyman is, Run for Your Life, Candyman, the official name of the game, it has been doing, well, and people really enjoyed it. And I dragged my heels to come out with like the next good game gone bad, for 4 years, even though we'd been asked, because I didn't want to be that game company. But on my way home from Gen Con this past year, I finally said, you know what? If I was going to do one, Chutes and Ladders would be a great one. And the important thing would be to bring the cookies back. It's not enough to just to parody the Chutes and Ladders, but what makes the game special that I did was ripping off the limbs off of cookies. That's got to come back. So So I ended up doing this whole now scenario-based combat game. Shoots and Ladders is not just one game, but 7. So everything from squad versus the sniper, all the way through. We got good grief, flag capture, and there's a scenario called.
I see a gingerbread man with a chainsaw here.
Yeah, that's the cherry chainsaw. That's Mr. Crumbles. The art has a bigger upgrade. The tokens are really nice, and of course with their new characters now, Sergeant Rock Candy and Ginger Joe, who of course has the G.I. Joe scar on his cheek and everything.
Of course.
But it takes place on the Shoots and Ladders board. You know, you move across it, but essentially it's a big battle map. And it's just about armed conflict using an M&M 16 and a Gatling gun drop and blowing the limbs off people. And instead of just like a single card of damage, you can drop like 12 dice of damage on somebody and arms just fly off. So yeah, it's been getting a lot of talk here at the show. I think in fact, just when we just took delivery. They delivered it right to the show, and we had one. I had never seen a copy before, and we were taking it just out of the hall, having just loaded them into the booth, and we were stopped like 3 times. What is that? Well, it's like it's Shooting Ladders, but evil. Yeah,
we are those
That's
guys.
great.
Yeah, so we had a tournament last night. It was the premiere, and we had a whole bunch of people show up. We awarded little dog tags so people could mark down how many limbs they blew off, and it was a good time. Yeah.
That's awesome. And we're seeing these little dolls everywhere. What's the story behind the little gingerbread dolls in your booth?
Well, that is a wonderful addition. We had a fan last year, Shauna McCormick, come to my booth, and she pulled out of her bag this wonderful stuffed plushy gingerbread. And I was like, oh, really cute. And then she pulled the head off. I was like, oh, my God, that's great. It's, in fact, all Velcroed together, so you can pull all the limbs off, and you score with these little push pins, like a voodoo doll.
How many wounds there are, nice.
Yeah, and she said, I would love to make these for you and have them for next Gencon. I said, well, how could I say no? That's awesome. And they what they do is they replace the paper sheets with these fun plushies. She hand stitched 175 in 13 different colors, and they went like hotcakes.
Did they really?
Yeah.
They're gone now, huh?
They are gone, but she is actually doing them like mail order.
Oh, wow.
So you can. She's going to do it through PayPal, and you can custom order what colors you want and that sort of thing. And
very nice.
If you want for your listeners, I can give you information.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't have it.
Oh, you don't have it? Okay, then don't.
I'll give it to you. So you
okay, later.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
That's awesome. That is great. I think it's a phenomenal. The box art's great.
Thank you.
Looks really good. I like the little growling gingerbread men there, and they look really good.
That's actually that's my cartoon style there.
I only have one, again, to make Curt blush. He doesn't know this, but one of our friends traveling with us said he came by this booth and he had the best demo experience ever. And
demoed by you.
By you, yep. So just it goes to show the listeners that, it's not you just faking it on the air. That's how you are.
Well, thank you. That's very kind. I'm glad to hear that. Because honestly, I think what I try to do is I try to deliver an experience in the booth. Because really, I don't make really high concept strategy games where it's all about can I outthink and outplay. I create game experiences, so my booth has to deliver that fun. So
good point.
Yeah,
I figure that.
Yeah,
good. That's great. Now, when you said that's your cartoon, did you draw this? This is oh wow.
Yeah. My day job, I'm a graphic artist and a marketing guy, and so I'm also a cartoonist. So
I did not. I don't think I knew that.
I don't think we knew that either.
Yeah.
We thought of you as marketing. We didn't know you had that the graphics design.
That skill set also.
Yeah. So all the packaging, everything from Hex, and Dead Hand, I've done the graphic design on. I haven't done all the illustration on everything. But this little dorky cartoon style, that is me.
Well, that's a great style. I like it a lot.
For the game. It's perfect for that game.
Well, thank you very much, Curt, and good luck to you. And it looks like you're on a great course for the latest edition in the Smirk and Dagger stable.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. It was great fun.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ethan Pasternak, the designer of Arcane Legions, the new game from Wells Expeditions, and I'm a member of the D6 Generation.
Okay, well, we're here at the end of Gencon, actually. The dealer's hall has just closed, and we are now fugitives.
It feels like home, Craig, because it's just you and I now. Our noob is off doing something.
That's right. The Gencon newbie is off, locked out of the hall. And we're here with Steve Ginfritter of Ginfritter's Gnomish Workshop and ArmorCast. And we've been talking to him a lot. And actually, they've got a little bit of an announcement that they kind of want to get out to the D6 generation. And Steve, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on?
Well, thank you very much, Craig. We like to announce that we've been producing and developing new ArmorCast terrain products for the past 2 years since we purchased the company. And in that time, we've also grown and expanded and moved into the miniatures as well. We both, Matt, my business partner, Mike, and myself, we're all avid miniature people as well. And we have been purchasing some other companies such as Tactical Miniatures, Lance and Laser Miniatures, and Dragon Rune Miniatures, as well as developing our Beaumont and Ginfritter Miniatures line.
Awesome. Now, it sounds from the names that you've got a full spread of fantasy and sci-fi. Is that about right?
Yes, it is. With our miniatures, we're pretty strong in the fantasy realm, and in our terrain, we're
the best.
We cover a wide variety of genres, from fantasy to modern through sci-fi.
Okay. And now, can you briefly describe these miniature lines that you develop? Like, what would our listeners be doing with these miniatures that might make them look at your miniatures now?
Okay. The Lance and Laser line is a classic RPG miniatures. They have a wide range of fantasy miniatures in that lineup. They also produce Battle Dragon miniatures for the Battle Dragon Miniatures game system by Spartacus Publishing.
I saw those dragon miniatures. Those look really sweet. So they can get them here then?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we also have the Hero Quest line that we've been able to transfer the rights.
Oh, wow, that's great.
So we're trying to keep the Lance and Laser whole product line alive and continuing. We also purchased last October the Dragon Rune line, which was created by Felix Panagua, and he then sold it to the Ting Dictatorship, and then last October he decided to scale back, and we purchased that system. With that, they have a range of fantasy orcs, goblins, ogres, and a specialty race called the Comodons, which are kind of amphibious lizard men.
Okay.
And they're great for any type of skirmish level game or your RPGs as well if you need bulk out your bad guys.
Awesome. And now earlier you were showing me some of the new terrain too, because I don't want to skimp on that. Can you explain that new little range of terrain that you were describing earlier, that you showed me earlier?
Certainly. The one new range of terrain that we're working with is the Cityscape. And with that, they're modern era terrain that you can use from superhero action-adventure games, pulp, even some stuff can go back and fit in within your Victorian age as well, and then also your zombie games as well.
Awesome, and those are making a resurgence.
Yes, they have, and we've been getting a lot of people really pleased with what we're coming out with, and what we are going to be coming out with is just going to expand the line even further.
Awesome, that's excellent. Well, thank you very much. Is there anything else coming up that you might want to give our listeners a tip to, or are we just going to wait and see at this point?
Well, one last thing is thank all of our people and supporters who've been purchasing our cinematic effects to really make your figures on the game board look like they're doing more than just standing, that they're actually engaging in combat.
And those are pewter for the most part, little additions that you put on your models, that right. Gun barrel blasts and things like that make it look like the weapons are shooting, right?
Right, from like black powder to energy and beam weapons.
Awesome, and maggots and hamsters as well.
Right, exactly.
So it goes the whole gamut of modern all the way to absolutely wacky.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, and good luck on all these ranges. We hope to have a lot of contact in the future, and you guys need to go to ArmorCast. Is it ArmorCast.com?
Correct.
ArmorCast.com, and let them know that the D6 generation sent you. Thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you very much, Craig.
Achievement unlocked. You've made it to the end of another D6 Generation episode, the podcast whose humor has universally been acclaimed as not too horrible. Please let us know what you thought of the show by either emailing us at info@the d6generation.com or by posting in our official D6G episode thread at the top of the DACA discussions forum on DACA.com. If for some inexplicable reason you actually enjoyed this show, you can help others find out about it by leaving positive reviews on iTunes. Thanks for listening, and happy gaming.